Carson Steele leaves the MAC for the sunny West Coast and Chip Kelly's offense. He may be the top running back in the country this season and brings his top 10 rushing yards with him. The Ball State rushing offense last season was 68th best in terms of rushing yards, 147.3, and an efficient yards per rush with 4.4, 56th best in the country. Carson Steele should fill in seamlessly on this UCLA offense, even though they lost quarterback Dorian Thompson-Robinson and fellow running back Zach Charbonnet to the NFL. He can fill right into an offense that was number 7 in points per game last season, 38.8. Namely, the running attack, number 1 in yards last season. Rushing was number 6. Along with a high rush per game, 39.7 rushes per game for the Bruins last season, and the 5th most rushing yards per game in the country with 239.8. The offensive line is definitely going to be there to support Carson Steele as well, as they have plenty of experience along that offensive line. Clemens, the center, has 13 starts last season, along with more in his prior seasons in college football. Tapaki has 2. The right guard, DiGiorgio, has 13 starts. Right tackle, and then a new transfer, left tackle, Kunta, had 12 starts at Old Dominion and helped his running back against Coastal Carolina have a 3-touchdown game and 259 total rushing yards that day. And they also have another transfer coming in, left guard, 3-star from Purdue, to help bolster that offensive line and provide that offense the support and rushing push that they need. Carson Steele will have a bit of a transition. He will go from playing with borderline NFL hopefuls to playing with multiple NFL talents along his team and playing other NFL talents. That will be the case. It's a lot different than playing Kent State than you will playing Oregon, but Carson Steele is the man for the job. A highly sought-after transfer, was recruited by a couple different schools and ended up going with Chip Kelly and the UCLA Bruin offense to try to get to the NFL, like fellow running back Charbonnet has. Steele last season had 9 games with 100-plus rushing yards and 4 games with multiple touchdowns. This is almost identical to former running back Charbonnet last season, 8 games with 100-plus and 3 games with multiple touchdowns. Carson Steele led the NCAA last season with the most broken tackles and looks to do the same here at UCLA. Steele will have another importance on this offense, making this QB Dante Moore transition as likely day 1 starter easier, and will make second and third down conversions easy, and will definitely be a name to keep an eye on this college football season. Now for wide receiver Devontae Walker. This wide receiver returns to his home state after a breakout season at Kent State in the MAC as well, a fellow MAC member like Carson Steele. Walker settled in during his second season, 921 yards receiving, 58 receptions on the season, and 11 touchdowns. He is a deep threat and proved that against a lot of good Division I teams with his performance this season. In Week 1, the Golden Flashes played Washington, who peaked at number 15 on the season and had 4 catches for 56 yards with 1 touchdown. And against the national champion Georgia Bulldogs with 7 catches, he had 106 yards receiving and 1 touchdown in that game as well. Devontae Walker credits his youth football coaches for telling him to run away from the bad guys, and it definitely seems to be working for him as he now finds himself on the North Carolina Tar Heels playing in the ACC with a tremendous quarterback. And not only that, Devontae Walker played so well last season, he got his fellow quarterback from Kent State all the way over to UCLA with Chip Kelly. But Drake May will be the biggest benefactor for Devontae Walker's arrival. The two connected on a touchdown in the spring game on a 35-yard pass, showcasing how good they are going to be probably this whole season, with a lot of touchdowns being put on the board and a lot of overs coming for the North Carolina Tar Heels. Other than tight end Bryce Nesbitt, who returns this season, Walker will have a big opportunity to ball out this year. Drake May will likely be a top 5 pick in next year's NFL draft and can help Walker get there himself. He will definitely be a deep threat and someone that defending DBs are going to have to worry about in the ACC, and a real threat to shoot up the draft boards this season, as fellow offensive talents in the 2022 draft went there. Devontae Walker will help the North Carolina Tar Heels score points, catch touchdowns, and win a lot of football games this year. Last but not least, we have a quarterback for this list, and it is lefty quarterback Brennan Armstrong, who transfers into North Carolina State and hopes to help this team achieve something they haven't in a long time. The NC State Wolfpack team won 8 games and played great despite 4 different quarterbacks last season, and any North Carolina fan would agree it was tough to watch at times, but they hope that Brennan Armstrong is the man to fill that job and need for this team. Devin Leary, QB1 last season, only played 6 games, and the Wolfpack went 5-1 in the games he played, losing a close one, 30-20 to Clemson. But the Wolfpack return a lot of starters on both sides of the ball and have already the best defense in the ACC. Brennan Armstrong had a rough 2022 season. He had more interceptions than touchdowns, but the 2 seasons prior were extremely promising, and I know not a lot of Virginia fans will be happy with his performance. At times, it looked rough, but anyone that watched 2021 knows that Brennan Armstrong has talent and can help this team this season fill a hole in the offense. Now, the NC State are hoping that they are getting the 2021 version of Armstrong, 65.2% completion percentage, an impressive 4,400 plus yards passing, 31 touchdowns, and 10 interceptions. Now, any North Carolina State fan or ACC conference fan, whatever team you cheer for in that conference, would concur that NC State was a better team than the record showed at 8-5. The schedule this season is very favorable to them, and Armstrong will have a real opportunity to seize the new transfer for him. All of their tough opponents are at Carter Finley Stadium this season: Notre Dame, Clemson, Miami, and North Carolina. And they have real aspirations to win the ACC this year, and they have been close so many times, but have yet to get there. Their toughest road game this season is likely at Wake Forest or Virginia. Wake Forest does not have Sam Hartman any longer, and Virginia is the team he just came from. So a revenge game for him, and one that he definitely will show up to play. And on offense, the leading rusher, Houston, returns, but will need pass catchers to step up, and DJ Collins will be the one to help Armstrong here. Brennan Armstrong has a real opportunity to propel himself into an NFL hopeful, and this NC State team will have the quarterback that they need for the 2023 season and stacking some wins this year.